I read 25 finance books, so you don't have to. Get ready for the full list because we're gonna go quick. I will teach you to be rich, psychology of money, rich dad, poor dad, think and grow rich, the 4-hour work week, FU money, big leap, $100 million offers, secrets of a 6-figure woman, profit first, how to become a rainmaker, secrets of a millionaire mind, digital millionaire secrets, the elements of investing, the richest man in Babylon, the almanac of Naval Ravikant, the science of getting rich, getting to yes, bueno, bonito y carito, which is in Spanish, thinking fast and slow, never split the difference, you are a badass making money, the intelligent investor, the 80-20 principle, and the 10x rule. And here's what I learned. Every book is so different. There's some specific for women, there's some for business owners, for young people, for investors, for every single type of person. But at the end of the day, there's common traits that will eventually take you to your dream financial path. And the reason why I say it like that is because that's probably the biggest lesson I've gotten from all of those put together alongside with 4 other things that repeatedly occurred over and over and over again. So that's it. Lesson number 1 is to get clear on what you want. Everyone says, yeah, I want to get rich. I don't want to have to work a day in my life. I want to work doing something I love. But what does that really mean? I think that's everyone's like off the top of the bat answer, but no one has really gotten deep into, okay, what does that look like for me? And I know it because it literally happened for me. That's what I used to say in reading these books. I got down to the, okay, but what does that mean? Like get rich, is that 500,000, a million, 5 million, 20 million? Why this number and not another number? And then we've also seen how people start monetizing their hobby, right? And everyone says like, I want to make money doing something I love. So then we see like photographers making money and then falling out of love with photography because they put so much pressure on the making money part of it. So is that really true? Like, is what we're saying actually what we want to happen? So I think this really took me down a path of what do I want to do? Like, what do I want to wake up super excited about every single day? And then how much do I want to make? If I work backwards, because that's another thing that was also very, very, very common amongst these books. It's like, okay, let's work backwards to decide on a number instead of being like, a million sounds great. Me personally, what I love doing is putting a good, a better, and a best column of what my spending looks like, of what I want to be investing in. And that way I work towards a number. I work towards a number monthly, annually, quarterly, all those things that I'm very, very crystal clear on why I chose that number and what it means for me. Now, this number 2 for me is probably the most surprising, and it's believing it. In some books, they called it auto-suggesting. Others, they call it priming. Honestly, what I think everyone understands it by is manifesting. Even if for some people, they do feel a little ick towards the word, it means the same exact thing. And from the most established books to the newest finance books, they all said it in one way or another, but they meant the same exact thing. It's basically telling your mind to believe it before it's happening. One of the books I read also mentioned how your subconscious has no way of differentiating between the reality and something that hasn't happened. So if you tell your mind and if you picture you're already living in what you played out to be like your ideal outcome, then your mind already like knows also how to manage like the emotions that will come from the different scenarios that you want to play out. Because we all say we want X and Y amount of money, but then have you even thought about it? Let's say you thought of this number because you worked backwards and you got to making 4,800,000 every single month. What does that actually mean? How do you process it? Like, what bank do you have that at? Where are you investing? Are you working with a financial advisor? How much are you paying to yourself? How much do you have in each bank account? What does that actually mean? What credit cards are you using? I actually learned the coolest thing from somebody on Instagram, and it's basically how money has 3 different pillars, and this has been mind-blowing for me. So there's a circle of generating, right? You have to be able to generate money. If you say, I want to get to 4 million a month, okay, what are you doing to generate that, right? And this is a skill that you start developing, you learn, you develop skills for it. So that's one circle. But then there's another 2 circles. We oftentimes just think it's about generating, but it's really not. It's generating, then we have holding and sustaining it. Like, are you able to sustain it, or are you scared of having that money? If that thought of Okay, you're making 4 million a month. What bank are you putting it at? If that scares you, then obviously you need to work on this sustaining bubble. If you don't even know if you're working with a financial advisor, if you're using a credit card, what credit card are you using? If you're investing, what are you using to invest? That's part of the sustaining. And then there's one more. It's the circulating, right? Because you can't just have that money and hold on to it and just keep it for you and not even want to spend $1 and have everything, let's say, under your pillow. No, money, as mentioned in many books as well, is an energy that needs to flow. So I basically see it as like that thing on the bike where one works and then the other two also start going and going, like 3 circles that need to work together. And once you start pumping into them and like getting them to go, you obviously get better at all 3. But right now we're all at different levels in these 3. So my recommendation to you, which is something that I actually did, was I measured myself out of 10. I gave myself a score, like what am I at right now in generating, in sustaining, in circulating, and what can I do to improve? That really ties into lesson number 3. What brings you money isn't how you keep it. And this in specific comes from the book, The Psychology of Money, which was a really, really great read. Because think about it. What makes you money, like that generating circle, that requires skill. That requires like, okay, let's look at business opportunities. Let's not necessarily be like grind mode, because that's also something that you have to determine for yourself. Does making a certain amount of money mean I have to be on the go? I can never sleep. I can never take a rest. Or do you want to make this amount of money while enjoying your day to day, while living a peaceful life? Like that. It's different for each person. So it's not necessarily like on the grind brings money, but it does require certain level of skill to generate, which is more like being on the lookout, knowing people, having the right connections, like opening your mind to the different possibilities, being on the lookout for problems that need to be solved. But then keeping it is completely different. When we talk about sustaining and keeping money, what every single book has mentioned is slow and steady wins the race. You're not trading, you're not jumping from stock to stock, you're not jumping from one thing to another. No, literally it's one thing and you do it for as long as you can, and that's how you keep the money. So what's that exact way of keeping the money, right? Well, lesson 4 is this. There isn't one road, there's one destination with thousands and thousands of roads. For Dan Lok, Alex Hormozi, Dan Henry, people who made money in the digital online business space, that's their road. That's how they're going to tell you to keep your money, to generate your money. That's what they know. But then you have Grant Cardone, Brandon Turner, and other real estate investors that will tell you that is the secret. That is the way of doing so. But then you have Benjamin Graham, Peter Lynch, Buffett telling you, no, you invest, you put it in stocks. That is the path. So which one is it? One isn't better than the other. There's not one that's good or bad. It's what worked for them. So obviously they're giving advice from what they know. And of course, that's the thing that can work for me. That's the thing that can work for you. But we need to each find what our one thing and one path will be. And last but not least, this is probably my favorite lesson of them all, because I've seen it in myself and I've seen how getting down to really getting good at this makes a big difference. And it's spending for you and not for others. Now let me explain what this means. This means that we get too caught up. We get caught up in the living with the Jonases. We get caught up in, oh, you have that? Oh, well, I can have that too. And if they have that car, well, maybe I should get that car too. I think the goal here is literally getting so good at silencing everyone out, knowing what you like to spend on for you. Like if you don't like cars, why are you spending on cars? I like cars, but maybe I don't necessarily enjoy like designer sunglasses. Like sunglasses for me, that's like the one thing that I need to have 5 of. Like I get them on Amazon because I need to have one in each purse. I always lose them. They always fly off. Like, no, it's not the thing for me, but I can easily get carried away if I haven't realized it for myself. If I can be easily, not necessarily convinced, but it's just a human nature that you start looking around and you're like, like everyone has this and I don't have this. And if you don't allow yourself to not base like your status and your worth based off of what you look and what you're comparing yourself to others with, then it can be a very, very big slippery slope. The secret at the end of the day is always going to be reducing your cost and increasing wages. Like there's nothing else to it. That is a secret to any financial path, whether your number you decided was 300,000, 5 million, 15 million, like that is the secret. But reduce your costs to be happy, like to a happy and healthy and stable and peaceful life. There's only so low you can go once you decide, okay, what does that mean for me? How do I actually want to live my day to day? But then here on the opposite, there's no ceiling, like the sky, space above, like there's no limit. So think about it. There's a lot to put into work. I think one of the things that I've realized the most is that finance really goes hand in hand with knowing yourself, understanding yourself, getting deep, deep, deep down, asking questions of really like your happiness, your status, your worth, your surroundings, like how you grew up. So many things are really tied to that part, and oftentimes we don't really realize it. So it comes with a lot of introspect, but it's definitely worth it. Let me know which of these 25 books you've already read. And honestly, this video took some time to make, like reading all the books, then analyzing it, then really understanding. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. If it brought value to you, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned, because I'm planning of making a full review on all the books that I've read this year, which is literally a ton, and not just in the finance space, but amongst everything. So that's going to be a great one to be on the lookout for. I'll see you here on the same exact channel next week.